just like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the lands we're all meeting on today. I'm joining you from the beautiful country of the Wurundjeri Willam people, and I'd like to pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging, as well as to any community members with us today. And I recognise this is and always will be Aboriginal land, and that sovereignty was never ceded. So I'm Jess Wilson. I'm from Safe and Equal, and Safe and Equal is the peak body for specialist family violence services that provide support to victim survivors in Victoria. So how does experiences of family violence affect housing? So most of you probably will already be familiar that family violence is the leading cause of homelessness in Victoria, particularly for women and young people. So family violence creates really complex risk and safety conditions that have consequences for a victim survivor's housing. For example, victim survivors may need to flee their property to seek safety in a refuge, or they may wish to remain at home but find it challenging to afford the rent that the current property of a perpetrator is removed. So whatever the scenario, losing existing housing can lead to a cycle of homelessness for victim survivors and their children that can be really difficult to recover from, and which can lead to, other or further consequences related to their financial, social, emotional, and physical well-being. So due to this, wherever possible, prevention of homelessness as a result of family violence is the benchmark we should all be aiming for. So there is a number of initiatives relating to housing within the sector, which I'll touch on. Firstly, the Safe at Home response, which is a response aimed at supporting victim survivors to safely remain in their current property while the perpetrator of family violence leaves. So we believe that as a principle, this is the preferred housing response to victim survivors of family violence. So it's a program that includes a variety of current interventions that are currently within the broad social service system that work together to keep victim survivors safe. So including interventions with perpetrators, justice responses, family violence case management, and safety modifications and technology. So, of course, with any response, it does need to be risk and safety informed, so won't necessarily be appropriate for all victim survivors to remain in their home, or it might not be financially feasible as well. So there's quite a number of brokerage options for victim survivors, and I'm going to touch on this. Each brokerage program has different funding limitations, application processes, and kind of how case management support is provided. So I suppose it's best to kind of, I'm going to touch on some things, but it's best to seek out the relevant providers to find more detail. So the first brokerage I'm going to talk about is the flexible support packages. So they're aimed to assist victim survivors to access support, move out of crisis, and improve their safety, well-being, and independence. So within one support period, an individual or family can access up to $10,000. So the Family Violence Crisis Brokerage, was previously referred to the Housing Establishment Funds. This can be used to address costs associated with crisis response, such as accommodation, transport, and material aid. And within one support period, people can access $5,000. So the Escaping Family Violence payment, someone does have to show that have experienced family violence and have a change in their living circumstances within the last 12 weeks. They can access up to $1,500 in financial assistance. So for essential items such as goods and services, removalists, bonds, or basic new home items. And it's also provided by Uniting Care and includes wraparound case support as well. So you may have heard recent announcements from the federal government around a leaving violence payment. So from our understanding at the moment, this will replace the Escaping Violence payment. and is likely to be an increase, and people will be able to access up to $5,000. But no doubt there'll be more information on that to come. Victim survivors who engage with the Orange Door also have brokerage available for them for immediate support, to help them stabilise or divert them from the system, and this can be unconnected to a case plan as well. One of the other brokerage good to know about, the Red Cross Family and Domestic Violence Financial Assistance. So this is available to victim survivors who are on temporary visas, and also short-term case management is available for them. So brokerage can pay for a number of different items. I suppose just got a few here. It's also good to know, I know we're here talking about renters' rights, but a lot of these brokerage also available to victim survivors who are currently staying with friends or family, or living in crisis accommodation, or living on the streets, or even in mortgaged property as well. So the other program or initiative for victim survivors, the Personal Safety Initiative. So it's a program that was developed in order to help victim survivors remain safely in their home through the identification and installation of safety and security items on a victim survivor's home. So it's available for those where the perpetrator no longer lives at the property. There's an intervention order in place excluding the perpetrator from the property, and they've recently experienced family violence, and sort of similar eligibility to flexible support packages. So what will be offered is a safety and security audit of the property and recommendations on what items can be installed. So this is, I suppose, just some examples of modifications that might be recommended. I won't go into them just because of time today. But yeah, I think it's really important just to kind of get your head around all these different brokerage, and I suppose these are just links to them. But that's all. So thanks everyone, and Deb, I'll stop sharing my screen and hand back to you.